of it,
We are.
you're listening to a group of people that literally self proclaim themselves. They have no scriptural evidence that they were ever put in that position. None.
Right. Well, you know what? Getting back to the Matthew, forgot what script. Yeah, the one about the faithful and discreet slave, Matthew 24:45. When you think about it, there is nowhere in the Bible where it says there's a number 8 men that are the faithful and discreet slave. There's not even a number, so how can you even call yourselves that? That's just it's ludicrous.
Right. So when you really look at it, like where did they come up with all this stuff?
Right.
And like I said before, because you cannot question them, for you to look at it and research it, they make it seem like it's blasphemy for you to do so.
Right.
You know, you have to you have to question everything, even the stuff that we put on. You gotta question it,
That's right.
which is fine. Nobody's telling you not to question it. You may find something, you know. Most of this is about what I call, edification. It is, um, it is the looking at different things so that you can get what the real picture is. Often we um, are always waiting for something to agree with us. And
Right.
sometimes it may not. Sometimes you may learn something a little bit different um, from somebody else because that's what it was about. You know, that's what it's all about. It's learning, 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 learning.
That's right.
Try to get people to break free, trying to get them, those that are listening, that are either still in, halfway in. This is to encourage you to get all the way out
Right.
and stop thinking that you're crazy because you don't believe what it is that they want you to believe. That's what they want. They want you to believe everything that they say, everything that they spew out of their mouths, and you'll wake up and you'll be like, why does some of this stuff sit well? Some of it doesn't sit on your spirit well, and you
Right.
don't even know why it doesn't sit on your spirit well.
Right.
This is why it doesn't sit on it well, because it's not really truth.
Yeah.
They just like they hijack faithful and discreet slave, they hijack the word truth.
That's right. Yep.
This is the truth.
Yeah.
So even if you get out and you still subconsciously you'll say, "Oh, how long have you left the truth?"
That's right.
Right?
It's
So
there.
you're
Yeah.
literally mentally trapping yourself by saying, "When did you leave the truth?" Well, you didn't leave the truth because the truth is in the scripture.
That's right.
Man's interpretation is not truth of what is written. They came up with a lot of things. You know, I have a beard now. Well, should have always been able to have one.
Yeah. That's right.
But it's a mindset. It's a mindset. It's a business mindset. The suit, right? Formal and informal witnessing. I didn't know that there was a formal and informal witnessing, seeing as Yeshua himself, when he went around the people, right? Except
Right.
for the Sermon on the Mount, most of his witnessing or preaching was done what? It was actually done informally and not
Informally. That's
and
right.
not formally,
Yes.
right? So, oh, you're following Christ's footsteps. Okay. As long as you do it our way, you can count the hours. If you don't do it our way, you can't count the hours.
Right. And that's crazy.
Right?
That is just
Anybody that you
crazy.
walked up to at any time, you should have been able to count hours. But what are you counting hours for in the first place? See, here's another thing. It's a business model. You count hours for these men so they can calculate how much money on the average, because the more hours you put in, the more money you're going to collect. And then you take your time and volunteer and build a kingdom hall, right?
Right.
With
Right.
your own sweat and tears and your donations, and they get to take it and control it,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But when you actually need that food, physical or spiritual food, are they there doing it?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at
So
all.
if they're right, so if they're not there doing it, then how
How
are
are
they
they?
faithful?
And how are they the slave?
Right. You're the slave. You're the faithful and wise slave. They are not the faithful and wise slave. Remember, like I said in other videos, they put themselves up so high till they don't put themselves in danger. Everything that they ask you to do, they do not do
Right.
themselves. They don't have to worry about losing a job. They don't have to worry about getting persecuted in the streets, but they tell you, oh, you got to hold on to this faith, right? You got to hold on to it. They don't,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
You got to hold on to it. You're the holder. You're the faithful. It says whom, right? Who is the faithful
Yes.
and discreet slave? There's a difference. And like I said, there's so many plays on words and lingo and things like that. If you don't sit back and you really think about what it is that you're saying and regurgitating and things like that, you don't know what mindset that they're putting you in. And even after getting out, you're pushing, you're doing all these other things because they still have you, trapped,
Right.
So that for when I get on like this, I see people on different ex-witness um Facebook pages and media and stuff. I'm an apostate. That's their word and their label that they use for you.
That's
And
right.
you think that you're beating them by putting the label on and saying I'm this and I'm winning. You could never win with somebody else's label on you.
Because they told you you were an apostate.
Right.
But you're
So
still, even though you're outside the cage, your wings are still tied.
right, right. You can't fly away because you're still calling yourself by their terminology,
Right.
right? So you can't go. The only person you can be an apostate to is God. You
Yeah.
can't be an apostate to an organization because they're not who? They're not God,
That's right.
right? So until you get out of that mindset, it's going to trap you.
That's right.
Even though you think that you're literally outside of the cage, still holding on to the cage, screaming at the people in the cage instead of walking away from the cage. All you got to do is keep walking, you know?
Right.
Yes, you have parents that don't talk to you. It is a very painful thing. I've been through it, you know? My mother passed back in September. I didn't get to love her like she needed to be loved, but I also had to make a resolve in my mind. There's nothing I could do about it.
Mm-hmm.
My mom didn't even know how much she was loved. Didn't know because the mindset and what's trapped in there. Often it's your loved ones that are trapped in there because they
That's right.
say, if you walk away, what's one of the guilt trips that they always give you? If you walk away,
You're gonna lose all
you're
of fellowship and family and everyone. Yep, that's right. And we're in 240 million countries.
right. So now you can't see your loved ones. I don't recall a scripture that says that unless you did what they told you to do, right, that you were going to lose your loved ones. It's a resurrection of the righteous and the unrighteous. It
Right.
didn't say a resurrection of the witnesses and unwitnesses,
That's right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That's right.
those that are not witnesses. That's not the label. That's another self entitled label, you know, that people use. You don't realize it, you know. Um, we say ex witnesses. We probably almost shouldn't even use that. It's like what you need to wash yourself. You need to cleanse yourself
Yeah.
of the mindset
Yeah. That's right.
because it does it
It,
affects us.
it
And
really
one of
does.
the things you got to admit to is that it does affect you. You
Right.
can't. It's like an alcoholic. If an alcoholic says, "Well, I could just have one more," right? He's still an alcoholic.
Right.
If we keep keep letting ourselves get trapped into the terminology and things like that, we're always making ourselves a part of that, and it makes it very hard to break free from it because that's the way we think of these things. We think of them in those terms.
Right.
And all you have to do is, one of the first steps I always tell people to do: admit that you were duped.
Yeah.
Admit that you were deceived, and it's okay, because then it's on the deceiver. It's not on you. But we feel like, oh, we shouldn't have been fooled. We shouldn't have done this, or we shouldn't have done that, and I should have known better. Well, if you know better now, then you do something about it. There's nothing that you could do about the past. What you could do is, from today forward, you could do something about it, you know? And that's the way we have to view it. We got to make it to where we take the steps to do something from here on out. Stop wearing their labels, practice not using their terminology.
Right.
It
I mean,
traps you in.
that's valid points. That's valid points.